In the last video, we talked about how the universe began, but today, we'll be frankly talking about what space really is. Keep watching to learn more. Welcome back to another video about the universe we live in. Today, we'll discuss what space really is. Many individuals believe that space is a vacuum with no particles in it. However, scientists have been constantly debating about if there is a structure to space as a medium. The first theory to create a structure to space was that of Aether, or ether. It was considered since the 18th century to be the fabric of space through which electromagnetic waves would travel, later called the luminiferous aether for this reason. Isaac Newton and James C. Maxwell were two of the many scientists who supported the idea of Aether. James C. Maxwell stated, "Aether was invented for the planets to swim in, to constitute electric atmospheres and magnetic effluvia, to convey sensations from one part of our bodies to another, and so on, until all space had been filled 3 or 4 times over with Aether." Many experiments were conducted in order to find Aether. One, and possibly the most important one, was the Michelson Morley experiment. This experiment was used to detect if there was Aether and which direction it would face in relation to objects in space. The experiment failed, proving that the Aether didn't exist. If you want to learn more about the Michelson-Morley experiment, I highly recommend watching the video made by Khan Academy. Albert Einstein's theory of special relativity also stated that there was no ether, but it implemented the idea of space-time, which brings us to our next topic. What is space-time made of? The two following theories might answer this question. The first theory, the quantum foam theory, states that space is made up of infinitesimally small particles that appear and disappear at infinitesimally small rates, kind of like the fizz at the top of a glass of soda. These particles are really just matter and antimatter canceling each other out at the speeds of Planck length in a time period of 1.6 times 10 to the negative 35 seconds. There have been experiments to prove the existence of quantum foam, but scientists have not been able to directly observe it. The second theory is that of string theory, which dives into the possibility that space and subatomic particles are actually made of strings. When you first conceptualize a proton, electron, or any other subatomic particle, you would most likely think that the particles are somewhat resembling a sphere. This is known as the point particle theory. However, this theory broke down when trying to deal with the force of gravity. Including gravity into the standard model of particle physics would answer many, if not all, the questions of physics we have. The created theory would be known as the theory of everything. To suffice the need to create a theory of everything, scientists created string theory, which states that particles are made up of vibrating string that defines the particle, kind of like how certain strings on a violin define what note is played. The theory also includes gravity. If true, string theory would also imply that space is made up of string because gravity directly influences space-time, or the current fabric of space. However, string theory is a relatively new theory that is very hard to prove to be true. String theory requires dimensions higher than ours, up to 10, in order to prove the idea. I would like to leave you off with the question. Current knowledge indicates that space travels faster, or expands faster, than the speed of light. If space is made up of matter, antimatter, or strings, how does it do so? This is probably a question to be reserved for a future video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with your friends or family. Comment down below questions about this video or suggestions for future videos. See you in the next video.